Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. So one of the things that keeps coming up when we're talking about, life decisions and tax strategies is living in or establishing a business in a tax-free state. So there's a lot of good marketing around the states that do not have state income tax. And I'm going to list those out for you too. And what I want to hone in on is whether it's actually worth it, whether it's actually worth moving to a state without income tax. And I'm not going to go through each state in particular. I'm not like pro or against any particular state, but I am going to share some thoughts on, why people are doing this, why it would be a tax strategy, but also some things you may not be considering, because if you're only looking at a decision in your life based on the tax implications, then in my personal opinion, you're not making the decision for the right reasons. So let's start with, here are the states with no income tax: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Tennessee, and Washington State. And those 7 states don't have income tax. Now, you may be not surprised by some of these because you've probably heard of a lot of Californians trying to move to Nevada or Texas. And you may have heard of a lot of people moving to Florida for the tax benefits too. And there are a couple of things to keep in mind. And overall, yes, you might be able to save money. If you're moving out of a state like California, New York, even Massachusetts, where I'm from, they have particularly high business registration costs. So if you're moving out of a high cost state, you don't necessarily, there is a benefit to moving to a income tax free state, 100%. However, there are also other costs, right? Because heck, the state has to make its money somehow. So just because the state income tax is cheap doesn't mean other taxes are cheap. You can still be paying a lot in property taxes. You could still be paying a lot in sales taxes. It's another way of collecting their money. So even if you're not paid, or even if you're not paying income taxes, you could still end up paying a crap ton of property tax, a crap ton on insurance, especially. So Florida is a great example of this. We were actually looking at places in Florida at one point, and the amount you pay in insurance, especially near the coastline, for obvious reasons due to flooding and storms, the required flood insurance you have to maintain is insane. And it's just getting more and more expensive, to the point where if you own a property in Florida near the coast, it's nearly identical to what we're incurring here in Connecticut for property taxes. It's going to property tax or it's going to insurance. Either way, it's coming out of your pocket. So wherever it's actually landing will differ, but you're still going to end up paying similar amounts of money in most cases. I would not uproot your life to move to an income tax free state unless there was another compelling reason to go there. You should be pulled there, not pushed there. And you should pick a location to live, especially if you have a location agnostic life. My husband and I technically have a location agnostic life because I work remotely and so does he. He doesn't really work in the sense of working on a business or anything. He's an investor. So we just basically, work from home, wherever that may be. And yeah, you can save money in the short, but what's the school system like for your family? What resources are available to you? What conveniences are there? So for example, if you were to move to, let's just say from California to Nevada, for an example. Now, do I believe that's probably a good move? Probably from a tax standpoint. But think of it this way: how much longer is it going to take you to drive? Are you going to spend a lot more money on gas to go get groceries, or gas to go back and visit your family in California? Are you going to be traveling a lot more and incurring hotel and airfare costs? Are you going to have to spend more money on airfare because you live in a place where it's further away from a major airport? moving from Georgia to Florida, key example, right? Depending on where you are in Florida, obviously Miami's huge, Orlando's huge, but if you're moving to, say, Pensacola, Florida from Atlanta, you're not going to have nearly as many flights. So you have to consider all of these different things according to your lifestyle. You should be adding up all of the different factors on what it would be like to live there. What are the key things that you care about? And then also looking at what are the state income taxes and how will that impact our family?
Hey, real quick, are you learning anything in this episode that you think is share worthy? Well, if you could take a quick screenshot and share any of your biggest takeaways or quotes from this episode, post it to Instagram and make sure to tag me at Shannon K. Weinstein and at Keep What You Earn. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Let's dive back in.
Again, don't adjust your whole routine for the sake of tax savings. If you don't enjoy where you live, then what are you doing? And you should definitely be looking into what I call lifestyle arbitrage. I love this. This is why when people ask us about Costa Rica, for example, the answer to that question that I get all the time is no, we do not pay taxes in Costa Rica currently because we do not currently earn money in Costa Rica. All of our money is earned here in the United States. My business is established in the United States in Connecticut. And all of that is done through the US tax system. We effectively just take long vacations to Costa Rica, one trip at a time. Okay. We don't spend enough time out of the country to get the foreign earned income exclusion, and that's okay. And a lot of people ask all the time, was Costa Rica a tax play? Like, is there a tax savings there? So a lot of people also conflate this with Puerto Rico, which is different. But Costa Rica has its own tax system. It is much cheaper in terms of taxes down there. However, if I were to migrate my business, if I were to start my business down and have it be based in Costa Rica, there's a lot more requirements as a foreign business to do business in the United States, right? I would have to also, disclose that I was moving stuff down there. Like doing US taxes from Costa Rica can be a little bit sensitive, right? We try to keep that all stateside. We also have to keep in mind that, the tax system may be cheaper, but it's not simpler. Registering a business down in Costa Rica is quite difficult. Having a business down there is quite difficult. You have a lot of filing requirements, like a monthly corporate filing. And eventually it just becomes more cumbersome because, hey, at least the US tax system is the devil I know versus the devil I don't. And to invest the time to learn the tax system in Costa Rica would just not be worth it for me. So I'm willing to establish my business here in the United States and to pay the taxes here because technically that's where my business is based. That's where I grew it. And that's where I live, half the year. But it's not really a tax play, and that's okay. Not everything has to be a tax play. Folks ask me all the time, if that was a tax strategy. And I say, no, it was just a joy strategy. It was a joy play. I just wanted to, have hear monkeys in the morning. Like who wouldn't want that? I'll pay the taxes. I don't care. I don't care if it's more expensive. I mean, y'all Californians, right? This is your argument every single time while you live in California. It's like I wake up every day and the sun is shining. I'm near the beach. Why not? This is what we pay for. I say, yeah, this is why I'm willing to pay US taxes and just deal with it because heck, I can live in Costa Rica and I can enjoy everything that brings with it. But I can also, enjoy the conveniences of the states and just continue operating in the US tax system. Not to mention, I should probably be familiar with it and engage with it as I work with clients. So that's my explanation on the Costa Rica side of things because people do ask me that all the time if that was a tax play. Not everything has to be. And just because a CPA did it doesn't mean it's necessarily tax advantaged. I know it's so strange. But if you're considering making a move, if you're considering, you know, alternatives to where you currently live and thinking about the burden of taxes, it is a factor in your decision. Don't deny that. But definitely don't make a rush decision and definitely consider all of the different facets of your life before you make such a decision because if you're not happy in another state, if you are truly happy where you live, sometimes it's worth it. It's just the price you pay for that happiness, the price you pay for the convenience. And that is okay. You have my permission not to do the tax cheap thing. You have my permission that you never need it to not save taxes if it doesn't make sense for you. So just consider that, consider all the things that go along with it, consider all the different insurances, property taxes, excise taxes, and other things that will hit you even if income tax doesn't, because it can be deceiving. Look at it multidimensionally and just make sure it's the right decision for you.
Okay, real talk. Our business can really mess with our emotions and our mindset. Am I right? One day we feel like we're unstoppable, like we could run through a wall, and then the next we want to burn it all down and start from scratch. Hey, I'm with you. A lot of this has to do with how we approach our money. And if you need a quick jolt of mindset habits for the next 5 days to help you reboot and recalibrate, check out my 5-day financial mindset refresh delivered straight to your email. Click the link in the show notes to sign up right now. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.